Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches, not to be confused with Books and
Hermitchet.
I like that one.
I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
And Maria. Hi.
You're so unprepared right now.
Listen, this is our first one back of our batch. You know, like we do it in batches. This is our first one. Get ready for chaos.
Every month, Erica forgets that's been our intro for over a year.
And I
Almost two at this rate.
I would come with a list.
There's so many things that I like come up and with and create, and like that is just one that never hits the brain cells for
That's
me.
why I like it. That's why I'm keeping it.
And I can't even rub together two to like think of something original.
I love it. Welcome, everybody. This is a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, we talk about sex. You know the deal.
If you don't, sorry. Hi, welcome.
This month,
Welcome. we might have some new people here.
True.
Because today we're doing John's cousin's book.
Oh, that's
so
right. That's right. Yeah.
I feel like there might be a few people that like
I'm so
might
sorry.
not
I'm so sorry.
normally listen to the pod, but they're here for.
We'll take it easy on this.
Take it easy.
Well, that's why I wanted to preface.
You said it right.
This month we decided to do 3. Did we do 3?
No.
Yeah, because the third one's a movie. So we have 3 young adult stuff coming out. So a little more tame, not as crazy as we usually are. Right.
The podcast will be higher rating of what's it called of explicit
PG?
explicit
Less of a rating?
Yeah.
no,
less.
higher explicitly explicit.
Expletives? Is it expletives? Is that the word you're trying to say?
Explicit.
So if you're new here, I'm really sorry. You've really stepped into something that doesn't make a lot of sense and is somehow still going. Welcome.
It's an explicit podcast, and you're listening. You probably read a YA book. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. This is an explicit podcast, but today, right now, and as you're listening, it won't be as bad.
Everyone does not like to promise these things.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to give that.
I will give a trigger warning at the top to get this out of the way.
Yes.
Maria, if you want to.
TW.
This book touches on self-harm and
Specifically cutting.
Okay.
I know. I think we have to say
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Okay. Cutting and then the trauma of losing a parent. So that's also very triggering. And so if you are aware of those things, I say pause, visit when you're able.
Amen.
It's a very good book, though.
Yes, I'm actually really excited to talk about this. So Erica mentioned this just now. Her husband's cousin wrote this book. That's how we came into this book, right, Erica? That's how we've discovered this book.
Yeah.
Case in point. So the name of the book is A Gravity of Missing Things
The Gravity,
The
of
Gravity
Missing
of
Things.
Missing Things.
by
Marisa Urgo.
Marisa Urgo. And you've met her, I imagine.
Yeah, I met John's cousin.
I don't know.
She was at the wedding.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
Maybe
God.
we
Did I talk
met
to
her.
her?
Probably met her
Did
too.
we talk to
I don't
her?
know. I
We
have
might
no
have
idea.
talked to her.
Probably did.
Fuck,
She
I
was
wish
one of
I-
the young people there.
I
Marissa,
wish I
I'm
read
sorry.
this before knowing that, because I would have loved to have met
It
her.
only came out in June.
Okay,
So.
I'm going to lead this off by saying I love this book. And I'm not just saying that because we
It's
happen
John's
to know
cousin.
somebody that knows somebody. Like,
It's not nepotism. It's
Yeah.
literally a good book.
yeah. I told Erica going into this, if I fucking hate this book, I'm going to say it because I don't fucking know her. No offense, but like I'll say
Well,
what I'm
you
going to
met
say.
her.
Apparently. But like I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest throughout this entire book. I'll tell you what I didn't like and I'll tell you what I loved. But at the end of the day, this is actually out of the batch that we did this month. This was my favorite book. And I also I would like to read more of her writing.
So funny story about this, just this situation in general. I get a bunch of book mail from Entangled Teen or just Entangled
I don't know how you
Publishing.
got on
Yeah,
that PR list.
I don't know how I got on
How
the
did
PR.
you get on that PR list?
I get these massive
You had to give
boxes
somebody
all
your
the time.
address.
You
I
had
must
to,
have.
It must have been when we started the podcast. You were doing
Yeah.
some crazy shit, and you got us stuff.
I don't know, man. But like,
Just saying now, she doesn't share it with us.
Yeah.
you don't want them. A lot of them are just shit.
Any cool swag though? A notebook I'm always down for.
I have an entire big bin of books that I've gotten, and my game plan is to
giveaways?
do giveaways.
Oh, that's cool.
Love that.
But
That's
I
what we would have done
haven't.
anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything with it yet, but it has moved in my house, so we're on.
Has moved in my house.
So it's
Was it in the baby's room?
it's in the baby's room right now, so it has to come out.
Okay.
Right?
Oh.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. But anyways, so I get these boxes. John gets so fucking mad because They have those little like squiggly pieces. They're like the
oh yes, the paper.
they're like
the
paper
fillers.
They're
Yeah.
paper filler.
Yeah,
And John's like, we live in a paper filler house. Like what? They're fucking everywhere.
Honestly, when I was getting fairy loot, that was one of the most annoying bits.
I
because
hate
would
them.
they
I
do
hate
that?
them. I hate them
because it fills the box, so it's better protecting the items.
But keep
Something
them all
else.
connected.
Yeah, or that.
Make them all one big squiggly.
Yeah. If you're listening and you
Or
work,
like 5.
yeah, and you
no,
work there,
it makes it feel
listen.
fuller than it actually is, and all you see is little small thingies that come in.
Anyways, so
I hated it too,
I
'cause
get
Zena
a
would
bunch.
go at them.
I get
Yeah.
a ton of them, and some of them actually I've gotten are really big packages that have tons of stuff in
Yeah,
them.
didn't you get one for Crave?
I got one for Crave, and it was like a ton of stuff. It was very
That's kind of cool.
So I get one for Marissa.
No way.
Yeah, before the book comes out, I get this fucking package in the mail. I open it up, and I was like, in what fucking world do I get the book that Marissa, like, this just happens to be the publisher
No
she got signed
shit.
to?
Love that.
Did you tell her?
Yeah, I messaged her. I was like, apparently I'm on the fucking VIP list to getting these books.
Was she confused?
No, I mean, that was part of like her like her
Yeah,
deal,
it's a
you
deal.
know what I mean?
That's so smart.
But it was like a
She probably wouldn't know
It
who
was
got
actually
sent
a
it.
water
Yeah.
bottle. It was a water bottle
that's
with like a
cool.
little plain like thing.
Oh, cool.
You get the book, you get
Sad,
like a
but
bookmark.
Yeah, that's neat. Okay, well,
So I have two copies of the book, so
let's
do a giveaway.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Let's dive in here because I really want to talk about this.
I gotta say, if I look weird turning like this, it's because I have a pinched nerve in my neck. I'm
Aw.
old, and I'm just like, heh.
which you'd only see if you were watching our YouTube.
Hey!
Head on over, look up Books and Betches. We'll pop right up. We need more subscribers. Come on, hop on that train.
Or don't, whatever.
I don't know.
We're at 18:10.
I feel like that's something you're supposed to say to promote yourself. Isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I had a whole conversation with my boss the other day about how I don't use social media. He goes, "That's very sad," and I go, "No, man, I'm just done with it."
I don't blame you. If you're new to this podcast, we do this thing where we attempt to explain an entire plot summary of a book in 60 seconds or less. This week, Erica, since you're like basically related to the author, you're gonna do the
Non-blood. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you call a cousin a cousin-in-law? Is that a thing?
Mm.
You
I
do
just call him
now.
a cousin.
A CIL.
I have so many cousins that aren't even blood or marriage related. So,
I have 2.
At this point, you just call everybody
three.
a cousin.
Yeah,
in Latino culture, everyone's your cousin.
I have 3
Yeah.
cousins.
Everyone's your
and
deal.
Mike has 2, so we don't have a big family.
Aw.
It's great. I love it. Less
No,
gifts,
it's-
less time.
Oh, you should see my house in Christmas.
Exactly.
There's a gift still in my house from a kid that's not even our blood relation, and he still hasn't come to pick it up.
Oh my god.
It's July.
I love that. All right, Erica, it's now or never. Do or die. On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, so our main protagonist is a girl named Violet. She's, I think, 16 or 17. I think she's a junior in high school. And her mom is a pilot, suddenly goes missing. And
The whole plane goes missing.
pretty much she just, the government thinks that, or, the news thinks that, she did it on purpose, crashed the plane on purpose. So then it's just, a spiral of, I don't know, propaganda, I guess.
30 seconds.
And then she is on a hunt to try to Violet.
Yeah.
The only person I've mentioned.
You said the mom.
Oh my god, yeah, the mom, the dead
You're not
mom in the
supposed to interrupt.
Go, carry on.
Anyways, Violet goes and she tries to figure out what's going on, if her mom was actually suicidal, and she finds out
10.
that her dad's not actually her dad.
Okay, and 5 seconds.
And there was an affair.
And they never found the plane because the mom just actually crashed and it was an accident.
in time.
I love you.
Not bad.
No, not bad.
Not good.
She's done worse.
Not good. Not bad though.
Not good. It was pretty bad. So here we go. So the book opens with a play from Violet's perspective. She's not in the play. She's a
No, she's
like
art
background.
director.
art director. She made the props.
She made the set and the props. That's her thing. She designed sets. Her dream would be to be on the stage as an actress.
Yeah.
But she's never had the confidence to pursue that. And she sort of had a pact with her mom that she would eventually finally, take that leap and try to act and be an actress in the show, not just do the props for the show.
Right, and we're through her perspective. She looks into the audience. She sees her dad and her sister who are there supporting her, and she notices that the seat next to her dad, where her mom would be sitting, is empty.
Yeah.
So before we read this book, for some reason in my mind, I thought this was a book about a plane that goes missing, and the character is part of that. like in
I
the
thought
plane.
that too.
I think that's how you explained it to us.
I
You know why?
I thought it was
I think
like
it's because we talked about it during the cockadoo moment.
yeah.
yeah.
And we thought it would be
Yes.
around the same.
I thought it
vein
was
of
gonna be
that.
the same situation where like they're all lost together.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
So what
So I
I
was hella confused when we were at a play and she was like, oh, my mom's missing. I was like, this is going a completely, actually delightfully confused because I was like, oh, this is going away from what I thought.
kept thinking that was gonna
yeah,
happen, and then I was like, wait, that's not actually what's gonna happen.
So
Yeah.
her mom's
But-
a pilot, and she's supposed to be coming back from Brazil on a flight, and she should have been able to come back in time
to see the play.
to see the play, at least the end of the play. And when Violet figures out that her mom never came home, it becomes a mystery of like, wait, what happened?
Where the fuck is her
whole
plane?
flight itself, the pilots, the passengers, all missing because they went off of the radar. Some transponder thing messed up, and no one could find what happened with the plane. And so for 2 to 3 days, Violet's having a crisis
Think
because
of Malaysia.
no, that's
That
what
is
this
based
was
off of
based
that.
off of Malaysia.
Oh.
So Marissa, I went to like her book signing. She did like a little like questionnaire thing or whatever, a panel. And basically, she was obsessed with the Malaysia flight.
Oh,
and
really?
was like tracking it hardcore.
No way.
And like she made the joke that she was like, I was gonna solve the Malaysia. but
Was that solved?
no, I think they never found it.
I
I
thought
don't
they
think
found
that-
a piece of it, didn't they?
That's happened in the book.
That's what happens in the book,
But
but
I thought they did.
I don't know if they did or not. But
I didn't.
I'll
Yeah,
Google
I
it.
can't remember. It
but
happened a
she
couple
was
years ago.
very, very heavily influenced by the Malaysia flight,
Which
And
is
I
the
think,
vibes I was getting.
Yeah.
I think that this was very similar
Yes.
in essence to that, which I kind of loved because the Malaysia thing was a huge
very, very big.
It was yeah, it was like all anybody was talking about at that
For
time.
for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. And I remember looking at, there was like a tracker thing that you could follow and like things you
Yeah.
can do online. I was like, dang, I want to solve, like anybody wants to solve a missing type thing. Cause
Yeah.
it's such a, like for something to just like disappear out of thin
Especially
air.
when its whole purpose is to be tracked in the air.
Her mom's plane is missing. They don't know where it is. And this is what I wanted to talk about. When she starts looking on these like forums online, which is, by the way, the worst possible thing you can do, but it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
All the comments are like, you know, she's a woman. She probably crashed the plane, blah, blah, blah.
She does on purpose.
This is so realistic, and like not to be a Debbie Downer and bring this whole vibe down, but when my mom got into a really, really bad car accident, I was so stupid and I read the news article about it. And the first 3 comments were like, she was probably doing her makeup and crashed. And like, I was just like, you don't even fucking know who you're talking about and like who's behind.
So it was like the exact same thing that happened.
So when I was listening to this, I was like, holy shit, like that is so true and accurate. Like she nailed that whole section.
But the trolls on the internet, that's how they are.
They just don't even think like, oh, there's human beings
no,
involved.
they
Yeah.
just
It's
love that they're
insane.
behind a freaking screen and they
Yeah.
just type away and no one gives a fuck.
And like obviously that's gonna mess with our main character's mental state, which already isn't great.
Stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, since she does have a history of cutting and she's trying to reach these 50 days of not harming herself, and she promised her mom, because her mom had also done the same thing growing up.
Yep.
So she was like, if you can make it to 50 days, it'll get easier after that. And so when she comes home the night that her mother's disappearing, she finds a note on her computer that her mother had left her. And it's basically saying, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there today. Things are happening. Sort of like, trust me on this.
Yeah.
And from that note, Violet thinks that her mom had a plan and that she's not truly missing. She probably just had a problem and she's on a deserted island somewhere and she just needs to be saved. But everyone else is like, no, they probably just crashed.
Yeah.
They're not coming.
A lot of people thought that she had taken the plane down on purpose. And like I couldn't imagine being in a situation where like everybody's like blaming
But
your
also,
parent.
I'm not a pilot.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's pretty difficult to just, while you have a co-pilot with you,
right.
take a whole plane down without pressing a bunch of buttons that causes a whole type
I
of
would
thing.
imagine, right?
There has to be a lot of mechanisms
Well-
in place because the planes just fly themselves at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
You just do takeoff and land.
I mean, you could
there was
crash
some like conspiracy in there, right? There was
Yeah.
the guy that was like, they were investigating like small terrorism,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
or
yeah.
cyber terrorism,
yeah.
which I thought was a good aspect of that to like kind of throw you off because that's what happens is people get into like these conspiracy theories. And they're like,
yes.
it has to be this like crazy fucking thing
Yeah.
because
It has to have an explanation. It can't
like,
just be
people
Yeah.
just
what it is.
want it to be something more than it is.
Yeah.
And and that's what I loved about this book at the end of the day is like you wanted it to be some like crazy thing.
Yeah.
And it just ended up being what it was, which is a horrible accident.
Yep. I
like,
totally agree.
Like,
I
it
totally
was
agree.
almost disappointing at the end because I was so expecting like a twist, and then when I sat and I thought with it, I was like, wait a minute, like no, like that's life.
Totally agree.
And that's where I think the YA aspect of the book like really hit home for me, that it wasn't like some crazy like fucking thing, because I feel like adult makes it that like it goes
they have to have some
like,
crazy explanation for it, whereas YA sort of
the point of the book wasn't that. The point of the book was her journey on losing her mom
and accepting and
accepting and blah blah blah, versus like an adult book,
and also learning
like,
that her mom is not who she thought she was, and that's okay.
Yeah, let's get into that, because you did mention it in your 60 seconds very briefly at the end. Kind of threw it out there. During her adventure of like trying to figure out who her mom is and if she is capable of committing something so horrible, she basically retraces her steps. She knows her mom has a therapist. She tries to go visit her. That didn't really like come to fruition in any way.
Confidentiality issues.
Yeah. So she starts like working with the FBI agent, who doesn't want to give her any information, obviously. And then she starts
she's
doing
like 16.
Yeah. And then she starts doing her own research. And through that, she discovers that her mom has been having an affair for basically her entire life. That's brutal.
With a man that she met in the army.
Yeah.
They were both in the Air Force. They were both in the Air Force together. And he, twist of fate, also turned out to be the oncologist for her sister, who had, I think it was leukemia?
Yeah.
As a young, like a 5-year-old, whatever. So he helped save her sister.
Yeah.
So it just shows that he's been in their lives for like ever.
Which is crazy.
But imagine.
No, I couldn't. Especially going through what you're already going through, and like that person, like your mom's not there for you to ask the questions that you
She's not there to defend herself either.
No, that's the other thing. So that was how we found out that the note that the mom left, which led us all to believe like, hey, maybe she did do this on purpose.
Yeah, maybe there was a whole reasoning. Maybe
mom was
some
sus.
random CIA agent was like, I need you to do something for me.
Yeah.
Mom was sus though, because she was like gonna leave her anyways.
Exactly.
That pissed me off.
Yes, that's
essentially
what
happened was Violet and her sister are close to going to college. I think her sister's trying to get into Stanford.
Yeah.
And at this point, the mom has decided that she wants to. She already divorced her husband, and she wants to leave with her hubby on the side, which is our Air Force man.
Yep.
She wants to leave and start a life with him,
and leave the kids
and
behind.
leave the kids to give full custody to their dad.
Like, what the fuck?
I would never. Yeah. I would that right there. I'm like, nah, honey, no.
That's fucked up, because this is like real life. This is where I have a hard time with some romance novels. Is like real life. It's spinning in my brain, right? And I'm just thinking, this guy probably has her insurance through her airline, and if you get divorced, he's now gonna have to go on state insurance, which is like $500 a month. He's gonna make his kids go on state insurance, which is like so like this guy's not gonna be able to afford insurance.
Yeah,
and that's all I kept thinking about, and I was like, why would you do that?
But also, if you think about it too, it's like,
and I was
he couldn't
like,
even get funding.
He
couldn't even get funding through insurance just to like do a memorial service for her.
Oh, it is so sad. It is. You're spiraled that into something that I wasn't even thinking of, and now I am. And I'm like,
but
damn.
that's where I have a hard time sometimes with romance. Is like some shit happens, and you're just like, that wouldn't fucking happen, or like, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, obviously this lady was like kind of selfish and inherently. Yeah. And you're like, maybe that would happen like that. Like, I'm sure there are parents that have done that, but I'm also like,
no,
but also you have a guy who's a
oncologist.
Like a doctor and a pilot. Yeah. They have great insurance. Why wouldn't you just give their kids
He's also their dad is a writer, so he just writes.
Yeah, he's freelance. He has nothing.
No income.
This poor guy has nothing.
I know he was such a good character too.
He was such a fun dad.
He was so kind, and like at the start I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate the dad and like feel bad for the mom.
No,
and
I
it was
love
the
him
opposite.
the best.
Yeah.
I love him the best. But also, I think it shows another look at humanity, and that not every parent is perfect,
right?
And not every parent is going to do everything that's right for their kids. They still have lives for themselves, and they still want to live for themselves, and that's why affairs happen, and that's why shitty things happen to shitty people.
So what I thought was really interesting in this is, obviously I know the writer, right? So you're like kind of seeing like what.
Don't reveal any life stories for her.
No, but you're kind of thinking like, well, what of this did she pull from herself?
Yeah,
right?
there's always something you pull.
And the one thing that I that really stuck out to me is like the dad being like her dad, kind
Really?
of like that, like
yeah.
he's just like a really like
reminded me of my dad.
happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
All the dad jokes that he was saying
Yeah.
reminded me of Ed.
Every time he would crack one, I'd be like, oh, that's my dad.
And I not that they were the exact same character or anything like that, but I saw the essence of her dad in
Yeah.
there.
That's cute.
I thought that was like, there was really no other character that I found that, and I obviously like, I don't know everyone in her life, but I know like her family unit. So
yeah. Well,
that was
speaking of dads, in the midst of her finding out about this affair, she also learns that bing bong.
she's another dad.
She has another dad. It's that guy.
There's a man who fathered her, and I thought she's actually a father.
But she learns that that's not her real dad. Her real dad is the man that her mom has been having an affair on with this entire time. So
And the big zinger is her dad knew all along,
yes,
and he still didn't care.
yes, but it's like the amount of trauma this main character goes through over
So
the course
much.
of however
So
many pages
much.
is so much that like I don't know, it felt right to me that she was going through all these things, and like obviously she would go back to cutting. So I guess we should just like talk about that, the trauma aspect where she, we were trying to get to the 50 days, was it? And it was like right before, and obviously she went back to it, and her sister had found her. And I think that was the turning point in the book that like kind of changed everything, where our main character realized that there were people in her corner, even if like her mom wasn't. Like she was so close to her mom, so like even if it turned out she didn't really know her, like she still had other people supporting her, and it was a good moment.
So as what I thought was really interesting, Marissa's an only child, so and like she had that kind of like family unit where like she was like, my mom's my favorite, and my like, did you have that with your family at all?
Not like outwardly, but you can tell that me and my dad are way closer. We're all very close, but dad and I have a certain like dynamic where we're very much alike, and my mom and Leslie are very much alike.
Oh, so you do have that.
So we have that, but you're never gonna hear Leslie say, "Mom's my favorite,"
right?
or
Right.
"I know your dad's favorite." Like that would never happen. We're too close knit for that. But our personalities align very well.
Yeah,
with
it's
our
an
parents.
unspoken.
I was gonna say it definitely
reality.
happens.
Also, my mom and Leslie are water signs, and my dad and I are earth signs. So,
Well, I just thought it was. I was thinking about that because like she doesn't have that family unit like that,
Right.
So, and then I was thinking me and my brother, and I was like, I have different relationships with my parents, but not like.
but
It definitely happens,
You're a
though.
boy and a girl, though.
I know.
I feel like that changes things.
True.
That's
the fact
also
that
what
Leslie and I are
thought.
both girls, we have a whole different.
Yeah,
dynamic with our
and this was
parents.
2 girls too in the book. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. That definitely, I imagine,
I was just
happens in
curious.
households. Yeah, it's interesting, but the
Never to that extent, though, of like this person's your favorite.
I think it had to be said because the sentiment was there.
Yeah.
yeah, but she wasn't saying it all. That was like an internal thing.
And I also think it does make a difference with your age, right?
Yeah.
So at her age,
She was younger.
they're younger, so it could feel more intense of that favoritism.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the different you become. The more
relationship
you
is,
the
yeah.
more you experience in life, the more you can like. As the older as I got, I can see my mom and I can understand what she goes through more. Now I relate to her a lot more
Right.
than I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, totally.
So like me and my mom now are super close. I mean,
Right.
we've always been close, but like more
Yeah.
to that point, because the older I've gotten, the more I can look at her and be like, nope, mom, you're right. You've always been right.
Totally.
So one thing that I have a hard time, and this is a big reason why I read romance. Actually, it's a huge.
Always
reason
comes
I
back to
read
romance.
I guess
You
there
know,
was
it
a little
is.
bit of romance in this book. We could talk
Yeah,
about after.
yeah. A little sprinkle.
The one reason I really do read romance, and I don't really read a lot of Colleen Hoover for this reason, is I like the fucking mom dying. Like it's just sad. Like, do you ever read this shit and you just put yourself in it and you're like, what would I do if that happened to my mom? Like,
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
would
the amount of times I
spiral.
almost cried. I was on the train. I'm like,
I cried 4 times reading this book. I mean, as somebody who has a dead mom, it was,
Yeah.
it was a little rough, but that part wasn't even the rough part. It was like her, like, she wrote it really well, the part where like she really feels everything. I love the title, Gravity of Missing Things, and there's a moment in the book where she says like, I'm feeling the gravity of all the missing things in my, and I was just like, holy shit.
I didn't
It's
think that's
heavy.
what
Me neither.
the title
That was
meant.
so good.
I thought it was. Once you first learn about the mom, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, the mom's missing stuff.
It was very
So
yeah.
it's very sad.
But it's so well written. Like I'm like genuinely, I was reading at one point I was reading it in the bathroom. I won't say if I was on the toilet or not. And
I used to do that all the time as a
Okay,
kid.
okay, good.
I would sit on the toilet for hours reading. Hours.
Do you have
on the
hemorrhoids
shitter.
now?
No, I have a great colon.
you heard it here first.
Compared to both of you?
Yeah, Yeah, true.
My shits are supreme.
I'm sure there's a couple up in there.
So I was listening to it in the bathroom, and it was a very sad moment, and I was literally like tears streaming down my face, and I was like, I have to like go out into the kitchen and like see Mike and be like, I'm crying because of a book.
Look at Lemmy. It's like
it's like, I know this is stupid, but I'm crying because of a book.
Stupid.
No,
It's
I
not.
know.
Yeah.
But I did. I cried 4 separate
But
times.
I appreciate
so.
that because she's able to really hone that emotion in.
It's so hard
for a book. It's
for a
so
book
hard
to make
for me
somebody
to,
cry for a book.
for me to be, and I'm very empathetic with people. So to put myself in her shoes, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no, I'd be dead. I'd be gone.
I totally agree.
Me and John listened to this book actually together.
John listened to it
Aw.
too. I love
Yeah.
when John joins.
Me too.
Well, so we were driving somewhere, so it was like a good
So you
book
forced
to
him.
like listen to. So the last time we tried to listen to a book together, I started it off at 1.2.
Silent patient.
yeah, that's
Silent
right.
Patient,
Yes,
and then I
yes.
tried to bump it up to 1.5, and
he
he
said,
lost
"Fuck
his
no."
mind.
It's
It's so fast. It's so fast. I can't understand what he's saying. So I started it at 1.5, and I was
Nice.
like,
He's in.
and he didn't notice.
Nice.
It's like, but then when I tried to bump it up to 1.8, and he was like, why does it sound weird?
I
Aw,
gotta
that's
say,
so
I'm
cute.
very happy about you two joining my little train of like faster.
I
book
listened
speed.
to a couple of our books on 2 for the first time ever. I'm like, I got it now.
Sometimes
You're right. It
it's
takes
one-
time.
It takes
time.
It
It does.
It's a progression, but
You're right.
now go from your 2 down to
I
your
can't.
1.
Maria, I
You
can't.
can't listen
It
to a book on
sounds
one.
You ruined me.
atrocious.
You ruined
You
me.
can't. It's
Yeah.
not. It's
So we're
it's
listening
inhumane.
to. Well, I'm listening to Project
Project
Hail Mary.
It played the sample on 1, Maria. I almost threw my phone. It played the
He
sample.
sounds best at 1.5 to 1.8.
I think I need to listen to it too, because what I listen to.
No,
is it the same?
for-
I wonder if it's the same.
Same
guy.
author.
Okay.
Same narrator.
Oh my god.
I love him. But the way I think
Dude.
his inflections and stuff sound best at 1.5 to 1.8.
Okay,
I'm at 1.8 right now.
I'll
and it
start
sounds
on
great.
1.5 and see, because
Okay, so there's.
Because he does a lot of like pauses.
I
the
literally
right
almost
way.
threw my phone listening to
I'm
it.
gonna. I might trigger you guys.
Oh no.
There's a whole epidemic on TikTok right now of people saying, or of voice actors saying that it is like offensive to them to listen to a book faster.
That's absolutely bonkers, and I do not accept that.
Um,
Bonkers.
if they feel
Bonkers.
offended, I'm sorry for them,
Has
but I will
nothing to
not
do.
change it.
Has nothing to
because
do with
it's
their voice.
changing their
Has-
their act.
It doesn't
their-
change their acting
their
at all.
performance, their
No.
art.
No.
that you're manipulating
No.
their art.
No,
Here's my
that's the stupidest thing I've ever
my
heard
conspiracy
in my life.
theory is that the 1 point speed is not what they're actually reading it as. I see them reading it at 1.2,
Yeah.
and Audible and whoever it is drops
Slows
it to
it
1.
down, yeah.
And that slower version is just slower computer generated.
If you listen to our podcast on 1.2, I'd be like, good for fucking you. Like,
Oh my god, imagine.
we talk so fast.
I talk so
I don't know
fast.
how you do it.
I
but
mumble half my words.
That wouldn't. How would that offend you?
Here's my problem with it is like you get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Voice actors make a shit. If you don't know this already, voice actors make a ton of fucking money. If you have a good voice, you could make millions of dollars.
wish I could.
And sit in your fucking bedroom and in a like
And
bubble
talk.
and talk for 5 hours.
Although
and
it's
make-
hard.
It is hard.
One
No,
time
it's not easy,
I had
but-
to do VO for WWE back in the day when they were trying to put
Yeah,
me in there
yeah.
to do Spanish. Fucking hard as shit.
It is very, very difficult, and you have to be
I'm not
basically
saying
an actress.
yeah, you have to have training,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
you can
But
make
yes,
a ton of
I
money
agree, yeah.
if you have a naturally good like voice for anything. You could make an ungodly. The guys that do voice acting for like the WWE, those guys
I know.
do movies. We all used to work at International, and if you ever change onto the SAP channel. That's the talent we used to
Work with.
produce and
Yeah.
work with.
It was
those
Marcella's
guys-
birthday a couple days ago.
Oh, happy birthday, Marcella. if
and
you're
those
listening.
guys like live translate.
Yes. It's so
And
fucking
it's
hard.
the wildest
Yeah,
thing
it's
I've ever
so
heard.
hard.
It is so unbelievably crazy.
Yep.
Anyway.
That's
super
I'm
talented.
so mad you told me that about the TikTok thing.
But yeah, that's like part of
I understand people who feel like maybe they think it's as offensive because
Do you
they
think-
think we're trying to get through it
Yeah.
and not listen to them. But that's not it. It's
Do you think
just that-
authors feel that way? Like, I'm curious.
I
like,
just don't give a shit. You already have my money.
and also
That's what I'm.
That-
That was the point
but
of that.
too,
Is that
it's
like,
like-
you already have the money. Shut the fuck up.
yeah.
too, they're still reading it.
Exactly.
The worst thing you want is for someone to hear your voice and say nope and click out.
Right.
which I've done several times.
I totally
if
agree.
you
I
fuck
agree.
up the audiobook, if your narration is not there for me, I'm not reading that book.
Yeah.
It could be amazing. I'm not doing it.
I'm with you.
Or I don't buy the book because of your narration.
Yes.
Well, this is what I wanted to say. This book, The Gravity Missing Things,
Great.
amazing narrator.
Great narrator.
I was so
narrator.
happy with that. I think that actually like really made it for me because
She added the emotion. And
She
that's,
did.
And that's what
She
I
did.
love about a good narrator.
and that's why I think I cried.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, I could feel it.
Yes,
Like it was like in my
yes,
chest.
yes.
She was young. Like she had that young voice.
She was great. She was perfect.
So Marissa got this book actually published.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
she
yeah.
got an
So
agent.
proud of her.
Yeah.
She got an
Good job,
agent.
Marissa.
The agent shopped around, whatever. She got the deal, and this was all part of the deal.
yeah.
Was
It's a good
You
deal.
know what I mean? Like with the
audiobook, cover,
yeah,
press.
all the
That's a
editor,
great deal.
Yeah.
the editing, all the editing was through
Wow.
them.
Nice.
That's
Which is
awesome.
super cool. Like the audiobook to me, that's like, but I will say it took a really long time for this book to get published.
Sure.
Because of the audiobook.
Like she had told me about this
Everything.
book, I think at Christmas time
Yeah.
of the year before.
Right.
So
Right.
it took
Right.
like a full
It takes
year and a
time.
half.
I mean, everything needs to be perfect and
Well,
aligned.
she had to get the
and-
edits done.
Just
You
the
know what I
edits
mean?
itself.
Like,
And then the producing of an audiobook, it's not like just me sitting here reading the book. It's
I
like
think it was worth the
it's
wait because
acted.
it feels so. It doesn't feel like a first published book. It
It
feels.
doesn't.
Yeah,
It
no.
feels like a seasoned writer. It feels like she knows what she's doing. I loved how everything connected in the end. I love how we ended on at the play. I guess we should quickly just brush over the ending. Is like it ends on a happy note. I think like she finally decides to act in the play, which was
she doesn't
awesome.
really decide to do it. But what
Yeah.
happens is they're doing Beauty and the Beast. And they have already asked her, hey, you're going to do our sets again. Like, we're so excited to see what you come up with. In the midst of all this, her mom is missing. So she's just like, I can't even think about this right now. Like,
Fair.
my mom is missing
Yeah.
right now. And I need to find her. Like, we need to figure out what's going on. While everyone's like, girls, like, the plane just crashed. It's just, that's all it is. She goes, no, why would you think that? Like, she's not gone. She's just missing. She'll come back soon. And so during one of the reads for like the rehearsal, one of the girls like had to step away or stepped out or something. I think she was being a little pest. And so they asked Violet to read alongside Landon, which is her love interest in the book. He's this super sweet guy. Also goes to the same therapist that her mom was going to as she saw him in the office. And so
he has a lot of
he gets
anxiety.
panic attacks. And so she helps him through that once in a while.
That was pretty cool.
It's very sweet.
yeah.
And so she reads alongside him for a part, and the leader or the, what do you call him? Like the
teacher.
acting teacher
Yeah.
or something, or the whatever. He had sent her an email. It's like, hey, I think you'd be great for this. You should play this role.
Mm-hmm.
And she immediately goes, nope, not doing it. I can't do this without my mom. Like, why would I ever like even try to be happy when my
Right.
mom is missing?
Right.
So she had said no. The other girl had taken it. Yada yada. Fast forward, it turns into she does get to take the part in the play, and she gets to act in front of everyone. That's like her final moment.
The FBI agent confirms that a piece of the plane was missing, and it obviously there's a bit of a spiral. She realizes, okay, yeah, my mom's gone. She's dead.
A hurricane is passing over Puerto Rico,
Yeah. And they prove that it was an accident.
and the hurricane washes up pieces of the plane on shore. So people were like, it's confirmed.
it was like an
plane
electrical
fell.
fire or something that happened.
yeah, they found the black box, which like black box tells all, right?
Yeah, but I also appreciate her research that went into this because
She did a lot of research.
There were definitely parts of like flying, and I love how her sister was like training to be a pilot,
Yeah.
and like her mom. But I loved how there was like, if these flaps are this way, then that means that it was an accident.
Does
or
it make
whatever.
you feel better about flying?
No,
So okay, so Marissa,
I feel terrible about flying. Thank
I
you
feel
so
like
much.
I feel like a mouthpiece for her right now, but she basically said she's terrified of flying as well.
Yay!
And
Soul
but
sister.
researching all the
getting on a
things
plane
about the
is fun.
flight
Yep.
made her, I don't
Feel
know if
better.
it made her feel better
Better
a
or
little bit.
worse?
I'm not sure, but she basically said that like she talked to somebody and they said like how hard it is.
It takes
for
a
flight
lot
to go
for a
down.
flight to go down.
No, my
because
grandpa was a pilot. He
you're
told me
going-
these things all the time.
It's
Couldn't
like
help.
pressure this way
Yeah.
and pressure this way. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
basically like in a, like you're like that's
Magic.
why like that's
Yeah,
why like
yeah.
it doesn't nosedive. If an engine ever went down, it would be like a very slow.
That's what my grandpa always
whatever.
told me. I still don't give a fuck.
Still don't believe him.
Now I want to talk about what I didn't like because I'm going to. I gave this book 4 stars. I think it was like a 4.5. It was pretty close to being a perfect book to me. I really, really enjoyed it. Some of the things that didn't land with me was the fact that like so close in the book, like we find out her mom is missing, and like immediately after she's like, oh, that boy's like really cute, and like this it was like it like, and I get it, like you're still gonna have regular emotions, but like it just felt misplaced.
I don't know if you would. I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know. It felt forced for her to be like, "Oh, that kid's cute," or like the relationship side of it.
The relationship didn't have to happen in this book.
I agree. It
could have gone the whole book without her and Landon getting close together.
I mean, it did help.
And that would have been fine.
It helped.
It added another storyline.
Yeah.
But again, it's YA.
Right.
And it's showing off how
I think
life
that
is.
was the part that
life continues.
Exactly.
Whether you want it to or not.
For sure. 100%. Also, her family, like her dad and her sister, like really accepted the mom missing so quickly.
Very fast.
Like they were just like,
the
she's
memorial
dead.
was like 2 days. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
That was a little.
Please give me a week.
The sister being so sort of cold-hearted about it.
Yeah.
In my head, the way I described it to gave it an excuse for it was she grieves differently.
For sure.
But it was tough to listen to because you see Violet being like,
it's like she was the only
my
one that
mom
gave a
is
fuck.
missing.
Yeah.
None of you fucking care
Yeah.
that my person is missing in this world. And she's like, dude, she's fucking gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you say that? Like,
Yeah.
why would you be that way?
I liked the line. There was a line where they got into a fight and she was like, "You're making this harder."
Yeah.
Because at that point it was like a week and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah,
And her
are
sister wanted to
making
move
this
forward.
harder.
Yeah.
Like, because you're not accepting this, like, and it was very childish, but that again, like,
It checks
a child.
It's the
It
wild.
checks
Yeah,
out.
she's a child, so that makes sense.
Totally agree.
So I there was like parts of that where parts of the book that not that I didn't like, they were just so YA in the sense that like that was what it was, the reaction was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Is why I don't read YA.
Totally. And I get that. I'm wonderful. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This
like,
is one of those books that, like, if you ever see people who talk about wanting a hard hitting,
Yeah.
like they want to have those feels, this is one of those books I'd recommend.
I totally agree. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It was really well done. The characters were believable. I enjoyed it, and I'm excited to read more of Marisa's work, and I hope that she keeps writing and publishing books. Cool. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
I really enjoyed it. I can think of.
I think
anything else.
all
you
at
know
the
what
end
I
of the day
really
liked
liked? The McDonald's date. It was so high
That's
school.
very cute.
I was going to say one thing that I didn't like, and don't ask me to name them because I can't, because I didn't write them down. There was too many like real life references. Like I hate when like books include like pop culture and stuff, because I'm like, oh, you're making, not only are you making this
you're
like
dating
not
it.
Exactly. It's not timeless anymore. But like,
Yeah.
which is fine, but it also takes me out a little bit where I'm just like, I don't want to, like real life things are happening, but I don't want to relate it to my real
I like
life.
the McDonald's thing though, because that, like, I don't
No,
know
that
about
was
you
very
guys,
cute.
but like
Very
we
cute.
hung out at McDonald's all of the time.
That was my entire high school experience.
Yeah, it was just
McDonald's
going to
parking lot.
McDonald's, yeah.
I oh my god, I just lost it.
But John, it was funny because I have to say this. This is the funniest fucking thing. So
John probably does not want to say this.
no, it's fine. So so John, we were listening to this book and like I forget what of the first mention of like the 157 people that were on the plane or that died.
Yeah.
He just was like, they call them souls. When it's on. So every time,
How many souls are on board?
yeah,
Yes, he's
exactly.
right.
He was like, every single time that like that was brought up, like the passengers, he was like, souls, souls. They were souls.
That's so John.
That's actually so funny.
so John.
I love it.
Doesn't say one thing throughout the entire
The only
book.
people that say souls are the pilots themselves.
Exactly. I was like, I don't know if like that's like a
You
thing
know what?
that
It also
some people
reminded me
say.
of. Did you
Souls.
ever watch Scandal?
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole missing flight thing or the black box moment reminded me of the episode in season 1 of Scandal where the plane goes down and everybody dies and they're blaming the pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very much like that, and the father still survived, and he was trying, and then Olivia Pope is trying to like.
I mean, that's true. I mean, the first thing you're going to look at is the pilot and like what went wrong, what went wrong. It's got to be a pilot error.
You just always want something to blame.
to me, I
Exactly.
never think of it. I always think it's the plane's fault.
I would automatically assume that it was just a malfunction
yeah. I would too.
or a terrorist attack.
But then once you get into like the conspiracies, it's hard not to get sucked into them.
But yeah, the John saying souls just like fucking he said it probably 40 times.
He's
and
a
I was
wonderful
like,
I
soul.
can imagine him doing that. Yeah.
he was like,
Incredible.
they're called souls.
Well, these 3 souls are done with this. Wow, what a segue. Thank you so much, Marisa, for writing this book. Thanks for sending it to Erica, not on purpose. And keep writing.
I bought
'cause
it
we'll keep
too.
reading.
I bought it. I
I
pre-ordered
bought
it.
I bought it on, no, it was on Scribd.
You pay for scripts.
It was on Scribd, y'all. This book is on Scribd if you want to read it. I highly recommend reading it. If you want a tearjerker, one that's going to like throw you for a little bit of a loop, has some good twisty turnies and some fun moments, then definitely pick up this book.
If you're in need for a good cry.
Yeah, it's a really good audiobook, good narrator. Highly recommend. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Follow us on Instagram. That's books_n_Betches, BETCHES. We have a Patreon, and before Mike yells at me, I want to say that he's like, you never talk about like what you even do on the Patreon.
Yes, you do.
No, all I ever say is there's extra stuff over there. He could
definitely like just stop listening to us on 2 times speed because he's missing things.
You could end up being on our podcast. That is right. He says we never call that out, and it's a really cool perk apparently. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Who says that?
Mike. He's like, you never talk about how.
Honestly, it is a cool perk.
Yeah, and we never bring it up. So I'm telling you right now.
You know why? It's everyone on Discord definitely knows this perk, but
Yes.
if you've joined the Patreon,
Yes.
and you have not joined our Discord, if you have not responded to my message on Patreon, please do so.
You're missing out.
Because if you get chosen and you don't respond, I'm going to choose somebody else.
Yeah. So you could be on our podcast if you're one of our Patreon members. Super fun thing. We've made a lot of friends.
I don't think that's happened yet, though, has it?
Yes, it does.
It happens. Also follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. We're doing an extra video this week with some taste testing things that Erica brought, so some extra content over there as well. And TikTok, we're almost at 10K, so go. Is that like follow us on TikTok? Is that the thing, or subscribe?
I think so, yeah.
Follow us on TikTok. The TikTok.
On the clock app.
Yeah, the clock app. Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, enough.